Have you ever had a boss that was just blah? They were just a stick in the mud. They had no personality. They had no charisma. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 ways to be a more charismatic leader, manager, person. Welcome to the channel, Leadership with Mike. On this channel, I help managers become more confident leaders, and I do that with no nonsense sense, if that makes any sense. Today, we are talking about becoming, increasing, or just touching up on how to be the most charismatic leader that you can be. What makes somebody charismatic? What exactly does that mean? It's somebody that's able to use their personality, whether they be the flaws of their personality or the strengths of their personality, but they're able to tie that in with their EQ, their emotional intelligence. They're positive, they're likable, they're just somebody that you're like, I'd love to hang out. This is what we as leaders, in my opinion, want to strive for. There is servant leadership, which is exactly what I say on almost all my videos, that you are working for your team. You are there to serve them. But there is also a thing called charismatic leadership. And if you tie these two together, there is no stopping your leadership ability from climbing to the top, to getting the most out of your team, to enjoying the job, the career, and the life you've created. Now, the first thing to do, or the first thing that charismatic leaders have or do, is that they're great communicators. More specifically, they're great storytellers. When they're talking to you, you feel like you're the only one in the room. You feel like you are immersed in whatever it is that they're telling you. They're communicating with a smile on their face, with enjoyment, with they just want to communicate. They want to tell you all the things, and you buy into it. As a charismatic leader, you need to be able to communicate clearly. You need to be able to tell stories or to share information that inspires your team. Part of being a great communicator is knowing how to read the room, knowing who your audience is, what's going to excite them, what's going to tick them off, what's going to make them not want to listen, and what's going to make them want to listen to more. A great charismatic leader knows how to say the right things at the right time to the right people. The next thing that makes you a charismatic leader is confidence. Now, you may say that I'm a new manager, Mike, or I'm kind of new to this role, or I've never seen these people before, and I'm not overly confident. Get there. Understand that you were chosen for this role, that you were selected by somebody else who says you have what it takes to be the manager, to be the boss, the person that people will follow. That should start to give you the confidence that you need to be a charismatic leader. A charismatic leader that is confident is somebody who they know who they are. They're comfortable in their own skin. They know that doing the right thing is always the right thing. They know their own strengths. They know their own weaknesses. They really have an understanding of who they are. And when they're confident, or when you're confident, a charismatic, confident leader is somebody who is able to empower the team. They're comfortable in their own skin to know that they've got smart people who have answers working for them. Empower your team. The moment you give your team the freedom to make the right decisions, they start looking at you like, that guy's got what it takes. I don't know, there's something about her, because you are just showing that you trust your team. You're just showing that you're confident enough in yourself to allow them to be the star. The next thing that charismatic leaders are is they're humble. Yes, they're confident in what they know and who they are, but they're also very humble. They don't need to tell you who they are. They don't need to always be right. They are okay admitting when they've made mistakes. And most importantly about being humble is that the most charismatic people or leaders that I've worked with is that they do not make it feel like they're the most important person in the room. If anything, the most charismatic people that I know have always made me feel like I had all the great ideas, made me feel like I was the star of the show, that I was the center of their attention. They didn't try to boast about what they have done, what they've accomplished. They gave me an opportunity. Even as a young guy waiting tables, the charismatic managers that I worked with made me feel like I was very important to the operation, which I was, but they made me know that. They didn't have to say, well, I'm the boss and I'm the most important. No, they said, you're looking after these people. You're looking after these tables. These people that are paying money to be here rely on you to do the best and be the best. So that's what you have to provide. It has nothing to do with me as a manager. Tell me that doesn't make somebody feel good. Tell me that doesn't make you feel like you want to go above and beyond. That's what a charismatic leader does. Makes you want to go above and beyond. And part of that is just because they're humble enough to allow you to know how important you are. Another trait or another way that people are charismatic or show their charisma is that they are present in whatever it is that they're doing. So often, if you're overwhelmed, if you're not confident in your own skills, you tend to get in your own head. You want to think about all the stuff that you have to do. The most charismatic leaders are the ones who can be focused on their responsibilities and get stuff done. But they're also able to see, like chess, they're able to see the entire board. They're looking for the next move and who's going to make that move and why they might be making that move and why that's going to be the right move or the wrong move. Charismatic leaders, they don't have this pressure of always being behind because they're not. They're able to be calm, cool, and collected because they're present. They're watching everything that's going on around them. Is this easy? No. Can you learn it? Yes. I personally learned it as a bartender, where working an evening, a busy night, you could really get what's called in the weeds, where you're just so busy and you can't keep up. But the bartenders that learned to be present, that learned to see all the people that were, empty on drinks or coming up to being empty on drinks or were ready to settle their tabs, if you could stop worrying about what's really happening right now, step back and see the big picture, you really got a handle on what needed to be done. You were able to be the more confident bartender. You were able to get more tips because people are like, this guy has got it. He is calm, cool, and collected. Again, calm, cool, and collected. That's a thing of being charismatic. So be present, see the big picture and what your next move needs to be. But more importantly, what your team's next move needs to be, or should be. And then being able to help them calmly. This next point kind of I discussed briefly when we were talking about being humble. But the most charismatic leaders have a way of making their team feel so important. They have a way of being present and listening to their team, listening to their comments, their concerns, their fears, their problems, whatever it might be. They're able to give this person the attention they need. And I don't know about you, but I've got a few friends that when I talk, it's weird how intensely they listen, how they ask questions about stuff that they may have zero idea about or zero interest in knowing about, say YouTube, say fishing, but they just ask these questions. You're like, wow, I love hanging around this person. If you have somebody in your life where you're like, I really like hanging around them, that's probably because they're charismatic. And if you just watch what they do, what is it that they do that makes you feel important? What is it that they do that makes you feel like you want to hang around them? Take notes literally, because the more charismatic of a leader you can be, the more control you get over the outcome of what your team's able to produce. Your team is going to come to you with situations before they become problems because you're just so damn easy to talk to. You just have this way about you. That is charisma. That's what, in my opinion, you want to be able to provide or show your team that you have charisma. You're charismatic. There's just that something. Now that we've worked on things that, to help you be charismatic, what I want to make sure is that you aren't making these 3 mistakes because they can be detrimental to your development, even if you're trying to be better. So get your coffee. See you in that video. Ciao.